Oh my gosh, hello there. Long time no see. I know it's been a hot minute. Your boy's been busy. Welcome for today's video. I hope you guys have been well. Thank you so much for coming on back. Of the title of today's video, you might be thinking that I'm announcing my run for governor, and you were right. I swear to you, my lovely constituents, that I will go to Augusta and crack down on all of the fill in the blank, as do all of these other candidates in today's video. In today's video, there are 13 Democrats and Republicans running for Maine governor. That being said, we need to do a deep dive on each one of them. Obviously, this video is going to be political. I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible. I have my own opinions, and so do you. What more is there than to have some frickin' fun? I'm a Mainer, you're a Mainer. Also, if you're watching, I hope people from all over the world are watching this as well. You're an honorary Mainer. Just move here, don't move here. Pros and cons. Just watch my videos, you'll find out. To be unbiased as possible, I'm going to be drawing their names out of a hat. Just like so, it's all random. My support in this video doesn't go towards any candidate. Maybe at the end, you'll have support for a certain candidate, that being yours truly. Martin's is not sponsored, but if they want to, you can sponsor me more. As stated, there are 8 Republicans, 5 Democrats, 5 Independents, and additional running for the Blaine House in the June 9th, 2026 Maine Gubernatorial primary race. For this video, we will be going over the Republican and Democrat options. If you guys like this video, please let me know, and I'll do a video just for the 5 Independents as well before the election. This is at Jack Not Jake, Commitment 2026, the Maine Gubernatorial election. The election primary will take place on June 9th, 2026, with a total of 18 candidates. Who is going to be your governor? Alrighty everyone, 3 things to note when we get into this video today. 1. I will not be making any reference to where the candidate is in the polls. This is because statistics show there's a rally around the poll effect when voters hear of a candidate's popularity. They only support that candidate because they believe that candidate can win. I don't believe that's fair because individuals should be allowed to decide who is best for them without consideration of who has the best thunder effect in the party. 2. There will be any reference to political parties in the onset. I encourage bipartisan thinking, removing the concepts of Democrat, Republican, Independent, left, right, liberal, and conservative. And 3. We need to have some freaking fun, guys. This is at Jack Not Jake. What else do we do other than have some fun? Alright, now for the video. Since the 1820, Maine has had 71 governors, of which the last 5 have all served 2 consecutive terms consistently. That being said, it is more than likely that the next governor, who will be elected in the fall of 2026, will be doing the same. Number 1, Ben Midgley, the Stronger for Maine campaign. According to my research, Ben is a businessman. He started from nothing, was on welfare, had a rough start, worked 30 years in the fitness industry, and became the president of Planet Fitness. That's crazy. And started another franchise called Crunch Fitness. If you're into fitness or anything like that, those 2 names are very, very common. So Ben, if you become governor, can we get Crunch Fitness here in Maine? Please? Please. He says that the government should be business focused and government committed to the people, emphasizing that he's made 15,000 jobs in his career in business. With Maine having 1/3 of its residents on some form of welfare, he says that the state has effectively become a welfare state. That being said, he understands that to cut spending and cut costs, we have to create a new plan to have people be more self-sufficient, but not leave them high and dry.
Maine is supposed to be the way life should be. And it's not the way life should be anymore. It's too hard for people.
In almost every metric, Maine has the highest tax burden in the nation. Ben says that by fixing the Maine budget, we can eliminate one of those taxes that is burdening Maine. Number 2, Angus King III, son of former governor and current senator of Maine, Angus King. His campaign is focusing on building a better Maine. Oh, jump scare. He's got a big smile. Big smile. An innovator, a builder, and you know his dad. What a great phrase. Angus emphasizes his efforts working at the White House in building renewable energy services through alternative means, for example using cow manure for energy, and establishing a Maine ratepayers Bill of Rights, basically limiting energy companies' abilities to charge Mainers exorbitantly for their energy needs.
When I set out to build a renewable energy company inside a gas utility, some folks looked at me like I was crazy. But I knew that if we really wanted clean air, clean water, and clean energy, everyone including utilities, needed to be part of the solution.
A lot of his campaign, or at least my perception of it by going through it, involves lots of smiles, lowering energy costs, building 10,000 homes in Maine per year, and emphasizing his dad's name. And really, really emphasizing his dad's name. Number 3, Shenna Bellows. I think it's Shenna. Hoping I pronounced that right. Not sure. She is the current Maine Secretary of State, serving underneath the Mills administration, the current administration here in Maine. She is not really diverging from the current governor, which, take it or leave it, probably not the best campaign strategy. However, she, among many of the candidates, emphasize their hardship in childhood. Mainly, she grew up in a log cabin up and down East Maine with no electricity or anything until the 5th grade. Keeping the emphasis on children, she has pledged to be the education governor, a plan to pause property taxes, of which in state of Maine, property taxes largely fund local schools, increasing school financing by the state. Okay, cut a tax, increase a cost. Let's see how you can balance that out. As the current Secretary of State underneath the Mills administration, she has found herself in a number of controversies, including Bellows attempted to withdraw President Donald Trump's name from the 2024 Maine primary ballot, was eventually overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. She is currently being sued by the Department of Justice over a failure to provide voter registration data. The lawsuit accuses Maine and Bellows of violating the National Voter Registration Act, Help America Vote Act, and the Civil Rights Act of 1960 by refusing to provide data regarding the removal of ineligible individuals from the state's voter registration list and failing to produce an unredacted computerized version of that list, as many other states do. Sorry guys, I'm trying to find something positive, but she's not making it easy. She's also being blamed for thousands of new Maine license plate misprints from our new Pine Tree plate, and she is also being criticized for the late and overdue Maine Real ID rollout that complied last minute with standards set post 9/11 by the Patriot Act. Number 4, Bobby Charles. Perhaps the most dramatic compared to all the other candidates so far in the campaign. He is a former veteran, led the global cause against narcotics. He says he's going to, quote unquote, bring back common sense. Campaign just says no nonsense, cut taxes, cut crime. Boom, boom, boom. He is heavily leveraging social media. I mean, look at all of these reels. I went to his YouTube. He has over 600 videos. That's crazy. And you can really get an idea of who this guy is from watching those videos.
Maine is in peril. I'm Bobby Charles, and I am running for governor. You need to take an axe right now to failed woke policies.
Lots going on. And, oh, he has an axe in most of his videos. Out in the woods, chopping wood. Hell yeah. Perhaps the exact opposite of our previous candidate. Number 5, Hannah Pingree, daughter of current U.S. Representative Shelley Pingree, who's been serving the Maine District 1 for over 20 years. That's a long time. Hannah has previously been the Speaker of the Maine House from 2008 to 2010, and she was head of policy and the future for the Mills administration until 2025 when she announced her governor campaign. Again, take it or leave it since she is in the current administration, whether that's positive or negative for you. Her campaign largely focuses on investing $100 million per year into housing in Maine, climate change, and overall just coming together, embracing small towns and communities. She's from an island, North Haven, off the coast, so that kind of makes sense why that's her prerogative. She emphasizes her work in removing chemicals from our climate here in Maine, her support of same-sex marriage, and according to one hardcore Mainer, she's going to do her darndest when she's elected governor. Number 6, Owen McCarthy, our first candidate from the county. He is from Patton, son of third-generation lumberman, as you are if you are born in Patton. His campaign is largely running on his Maine 2040 campaign. He's a University of Maine graduate. He went to Harvard. He is a University of Maine graduate on the Pulp and Paper Scholarship. I know some people that are on that Pulp and Paper Scholarship. True Maine core, that Pulp and Paper. It's some people's demise. It's some people's pride and joy. He went to Harvard, all of this through engineering. His campaign largely runs on his Maine 2040 Built to Lead Again campaign. He has a very, very in-depth PDF on it. I will say, and this might be biased, I do love the format of all this. His design is Katahdin. Everything's Katahdin. It's green. It's great. And I love how he does some comparisons between Maine and New Hampshire, Maine nationally, how we're falling behind other states. I think that is really cool and really important. In his campaign, he's really focusing on building. How can we be an economic hub for engineers, whether it's in maritime, whether it's in lumber? Number 7, Jonathan Bush. If you know anything about Bushes, Maine's got a lot of them. Gonna say that. If you're wondering if he's related to the president, you got that right. He's a nephew of George H.W. Bush and cousin of former President George W. Bush. He is a health CEO, prides himself on bringing Athena Health to Belfast and growing the economy there. We'll say he's got a lot of his face everywhere across his campaigns, as do many of the candidates. He's got his face out. He is really emphasizing making sure the Maine government keeps track of where its money goes, and that we have plenty of audits taking place of how that money is being spent and what we're getting back on that money. He kind of takes credit for economic growth in all of Waldo County in his campaign. He's kind of the only one that is kind of saying that he is the direct reason why Waldo County saw great economic growth over the last decade and a half. Anyone in Waldo County, do you agree? Yes? No? Now I will say Mr. Jonathan's got some controversy in there, as it was brought up in the Republican Gubernatorial Debates back in early May. He had a messy divorce a couple decades ago where he was accused of physically abusing his wife during the divorce, and he pled guilty. He says he's changed. People can change, but some interesting information there. Number 8, Nirav Shah. And an oddity in this whole array of candidates, he is the newest Mainer, only being here since COVID times, because he is head of the Maine CDC. He led Maine's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, if you think that was a good response or you think that was a bad response, probably going to guide your decision here. He was at the head of all of the decisions regarding the mask mandates, vaccination requirements throughout the state during that time. I love this photo, by the way. I think it's super cute with his wife and his dog. Like, that looks really cute. I'll give him that. Basically, his campaign, since he's the head of the CDC, is really focusing on health. Whether that is making sure we have universal child care. Any household making underneath $140,000 should have universal health care, is what he's saying in his campaign. He wants a better future for older Mainers. He wants to ensure that the state is more affordable, lowering costs to strengthen Maine families, and wants affordable health care, as you would expect from someone who is the head of a CDC. Number 9, Garrett Mason, the youngest candidate in this lineup. When he was 25 years old, he ran for the Maine Senate and defeated an 18-year incumbent by 11% of the vote. I think that's pretty cool. No matter what party you are, having someone super young coming in like that, I think that's really cool. And he became the youngest majority leader in Maine history at age 29. He highlights the housing affordability crisis here in Maine and wants to ensure that Maine homes are just for Mainers. For example, Maine has the highest percentage in the nation of second homes. That means that we have the highest percentage of homes in our state per capita that are empty. He wants to put an end to that, especially houses being bought up by big corporations and being sold at exorbitant rates.
The biggest issue facing our state by far is affordability. It's too expensive to live here. It's too expensive to get ahead. Let's start with housing.
He also says he wants to cut crime, cut spending, and balance the budget. Now, he has been in the legislature for about 15 years, so same as the other candidates there in the government, whether that's good or bad, that can sway some decision making as well. Number 10 in our lineup, David Jones. Plain and simple, Mr. Jones is a businessman. He highlights how over for 50 years he has built companies from the ground up, revitalized towns, and helped Maine's economy grow. He wants to end high taxes, overregulation, and anti-growth policies. Compared to the other candidates, he doesn't want to eliminate the income tax. He wants to eliminate property tax so that existing Mainers can stay in their homes. He highlights how in rural towns and communities, taxes, many people are already on tax payment plans month by month to pay their annual taxes. He says he's going to prioritize auditing Maine's finances and cutting wasteful spending, same as many of our other candidates do, and highlights the affordability crisis, stating that putting more money in people's pockets will help alleviate that. He's got his face out there, same as many of the others, got a smile out there, got everything going out there. I think he might be the oldest candidate. I'm not sure. Again, take it as you will if you think someone who is older or not. Should they pass the torch? Number 11, Troy Jackson. Mr. Jackson is a 7th generation lumberman from the Allagash, all the way up in the tippy top of Maine. Being our second candidate from the county, he is currently in the state legislature and has been working on bills to help Mainers with affordability for years. However, as he even highlights, many of his bills have been vetoed consistently for years. He emphasizes how he has seen many people work hard, long ass days, not that good pay, and consistently not be able to afford life.
They said I was a nobody and that people like me should just go back to the woods. I'm a 5th generation logger and a son of a public school teacher. I'm a dad that worked 16-hour days, and it still wasn't enough to get by.
And he thinks that is not fair. He does highlight some major endorsements from candidates such as Bernie Sanders and others, so that is something to consider as well. I know, again, like I said, I'm going to try to stay out of politics as much as possible with these, but he has a whole entire section on his page about this endorsement from Bernie Sanders, so you know, you kind of have to put it in the video. But like, seems like a pretty chill guy, pretty straightforward. Love his accent, by the way. That is a very Maine Canadian, way up there accent. That's true Maine. So I know I said that I would try to do every single candidate. However, the last two, we have Robert Wessels. His campaign didn't qualify for either of the gubernatorial debates that were taking place through any of the main news channels, so really not much that I can do on his campaign. He offers simply a campaign of bringing back common sense and shrinking the Maine government, saying the Maine government currently has gone off the rails. Finally, State Senator Jim Libby of Cumberland. Unfortunately, during the making of this video, he canceled his campaign. Well, better luck next time, Jim. And that is the list of the 13 Democrats and Republicans that are running for the June 9th gubernatorial election here in the state of Maine, seeking to become governor in November. All of these candidates share different visions of Maine, whether it is based on their past or the futures they wish to see. However, they all agree on one thing, and that is that Maine is no longer affordable for Mainers. Everyday Mainers see this every single day, whether it's the cost of housing, food, childcare, healthcare, taxes, education. Everything is unaffordable. This is a story that we're hearing not only in our state, the US, but in the world. However, let's be real. If you take factors such as real GDP and house prices into account, among others, Maine is the least affordable state to own a home in. Maine consistently ranks in the top 5 of states with the highest tax burden, and when you factor in the average income Mainers receive, it sometimes ranks as first. Maine has many challenges that will establish our future, the way life should be. Is it something that we want to achieve? Is it something that is and always will be? Or is it something that is reminiscent of an older past? This is what I want all of you to consider. Which of these candidates best fit your version of the Maine you want to see in the future? I highly encourage you to look at every single candidate's platforms. Consider the person that is running and consider if they meet your standard of Maine. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.